Fans supporting you here in Linz tonight. A lot of fans from the Philippines, but I heard they actually live in Austria. Some of them are in Vienna, some of them in Linz, in Salzburg. What did it mean to you to also have a lot of people cheering for you?
It means so much. Hello mga kababayan. Hindi ko inakala ang dami ninyo dito sa Linz, pero salamat sa pagsubaybay sa mga laban ko at magkita tayo tomorrow. Yes.
And going back to Linz, I know it's your first time here. How do you enjoy it so far?
I think it's amazing. I'm really happy with how they've welcomed me and welcomed the Filipinos. I think, I guess we match really well because there are a lot of them here. So I'm really thankful for the hospitality. I hope to discover your culture more and have some fun on the court.
And I guess the fans...
1 hour and 42 minutes. Straight sets. On red clay. In Austria. Against a hometown warrior with 369 career clay court victories. In front of a hostile crowd that screamed for her opponent on every single point. And Alex Eala walked onto court central in Linz, looked the entire tennis establishment dead in the eye, and said 4 words that will echo through every media room, every podcast studio, and every corporate boardroom in professional tennis. I belong on clay. Stop what you are doing right now. Because what happened today on Court Central at the Upper Austria Ladies Linz is not just a tennis result. It is the beginning of a seismic shift that the establishment has been dreading for months. The girl they labeled as a hard court specialist, the player they locked inside a neat little box that read dangerous on fast surfaces, harmless on dirt, just shattered that box into 1,000 pieces and scattered the debris across the red clay of Linz for the entire WTA Tour to see. And here is the question nobody in the tennis world wants to answer right now. If she can do this on clay, on her first clay match of the season, against a 13-year veteran playing on home soil, what exactly is this girl's ceiling? Let me take you inside this match point by point, stat by stat. Because when you translate these numbers from cold data into the language of psychological warfare, what Alex Eala did today was not just impressive. It was surgical. It was suffocating. It was the kind of performance that makes coaches rewrite scouting reports at midnight and opponents lose sleep before they even step on the court. Let us start with the single most devastating statistic of this entire match. The number that will haunt Julia Grabher and terrify every future opponent who thinks they can break Eala under pressure on clay. Break points saved. 9 out of 10. 90%. Julia Grabher is a 13-year clay court veteran with 369 wins on this surface. A woman who knows every angle, every pattern, every construction point on red dirt. She generated 10 breakpoint opportunities against Eala's serve. That is 10 moments where the momentum could have shifted. 10 moments where the crowd erupted, sensing blood, smelling the upset, believing their hometown hero was about to crack the code. 10 moments where the weight of an entire nation pressed down on Eala's shoulders and the Austrian crowd rose to its feet and the pressure became so thick you could chew it. And Eala saved 9 of them. Think about what that does to an opponent psychologically. You are Julia Grabher. You are playing at home. The crowd is behind you. You know this surface better than you know your own living room. You construct the rally perfectly. You move Eala from corner to corner. You find the opening. You earn the break point. The crowd stands. The stadium shakes. And then Eala saves it. You do it again. She saves it again. You do it a 3rd time, a 4th time, a 5th time. She keeps saving them. By the 6th, 7th, 8th break point, you are no longer playing tennis. You are running into a reinforced concrete wall over and over and over again. Each time expecting it to crack and each time bouncing off harder than before. That is what 90% breakpoint defense feels like from the other side of the net. It feels like trying to break into a bank vault with a plastic spoon. It feels like psychological suffocation. It feels like drowning in slow motion while the person across the net watches calmly and adjusts her strings. And here is where it gets even more alarming for the rest of the draw. While Grabher was burning through 10 breakpoint opportunities and converting only 1, Eala was operating with the cold efficiency of an assassin on the other end. 3 breaks out of 7 opportunities. 43% conversion rate. She did not need 10 chances. She did not need 8. She needed 7. And she cashed in 3. That is the difference between a player who is hunting and a player who is hoping. Eala was hunting. She identified the moments of vulnerability in Grabher's service games, attacked with precision, and converted at a rate that would make any coach on the WTA Tour nod with quiet, terrified respect. Now let me decode the serving architecture, because this is where Eala's tactical maturity reveals itself in ways that casual viewers completely miss. Her first serve percentage was 60%, 34 out of 50 first serves in the box. On clay, where the ball moves slower and the returner has more time to react, 60% first serve accuracy is a statement of intent. It says, I am not going to give you free points with double faults and mishits. I am going to make you earn every single point from a position of disadvantage. And when that first serve landed, she won 68% of those points. Nearly 7 out of 10. That means Grabher, the clay court specialist, the woman who has spent over a decade reading serves on this surface, could only win 3 out of every 10 points when Eala's first serve hit the box. 3 out of 10. On her home court. On her best surface. Against a player making her first competitive appearance on clay in 2026. Let that sink in for a second. Because we are not done. Here is where it gets truly frightening for the rest of the draw. Eala's second serve numbers. She won 63% of her second serve points. 63% on second serve on clay in her first clay match of the season. The second serve on clay is supposed to be the moment of maximum vulnerability. The ball sits up, the opponent loads the return, the server is exposed. And Eala won nearly 2/3 of those points. She turned what should have been her weakest moment into a weapon. She transformed the baseline firing squad into a game she controlled. Compare that to Grabher's second serve performance and the tactical dominance becomes even more stark. Grabher won 50% of her second serve points. 50. That means every time she missed her first serve and had to float in a second delivery, it was a coin flip. And against a player of Eala's caliber, a coin flip on second serve is a death sentence. Eala read those second serves. She loaded her returns. She pressured the rally from the very first shot. She turned Grabher's second serve into an invitation to attack. And she accepted that invitation with surgical brutality. Now zoom out to the total points won. 76-65. Eala won 11 more points than Grabher across the entire match. In tennis, 11 points over 2 sets is a canyon. It is the difference between control and chaos. Eala controlled this match from start to finish, never allowing Grabher to establish the kind of grinding, suffocating clay court rhythm that makes her dangerous. She dictated the tempo. She chose when to accelerate and when to absorb. She managed the points like a conductor managing a symphony, knowing exactly when to bring the volume up and when to let the tension build. 12-7. Eala won nearly twice as many games as her opponent. On clay. In Austria. Against a player with 369 career clay wins. In her first clay match of the season after an 8-tournament hard-court stretch that took her from Auckland to Melbourne to Manila to Abu Dhabi to Doha to Dubai to Indian Wells to Miami. 8 tournaments on hard courts. 0 matches on clay in 2026 before today. And she walks onto the red dirt of Linz and wins 12-7 in straight sets like she has been playing on this surface all year. That transition, that ability to switch surfaces without losing a single beat, is the mark of a complete player. A universal threat. A competitor who cannot be contained by any single surface because her game is built on tactical intelligence, not surface dependency. And she did it without hitting a single ace. 0 aces. Let that register for a moment. In modern tennis, aces are the crutch that big servers lean on when the pressure mounts. They are the emergency exit. The panic button. The get-out-of-jail-free card. Eala had none. Every single one of her 53 service points won was earned through rally construction, placement, spin variation, and mental discipline. She did not blast her way out of trouble. She thought her way out. She maneuvered her way out. She used the Nadal playbook, the one that says the serve is not the weapon, the serve is the opening move in a chess match you have already planned 3 shots ahead. And with 0 aces and a 90% breakpoint save rate, she proved that you do not need a 120 mph serve to dominate on clay. You need a brain. You need composure. You need the ability to execute under pressure when every voice in the stadium is screaming for your opponent. And Eala has all three in quantities that should genuinely alarm the rest of the draw. Now let us talk about what comes next. Because if you thought the Grabher match was intense, the next round is going to be something else entirely. Jelena Ostapenko, the 2017 French Open champion. World number 23, the 4th seed in Linz. A woman whose forehand generates enough topspin to bend the laws of physics and whose backhand can paint lines with the accuracy of a laser-guided missile. This is the player who won Roland Garros as an unseeded 20-year-old, bulldozing through the draw with a brand of power tennis that left the entire sport speechless. But here is the part that matters. The head-to-head between Eala and Ostapenko. 2 matches. 2 Eala victories. She beat Ostapenko at the Miami Open last year, 7-6, 7-5, in a match where the Latvian threw everything in her arsenal at Eala and still came up short. She beat her again at Eastbourne. Eala owns the head-to-head against a former Grand Slam champion. But they have never played on clay. And that is what makes the next round so monumental. If Eala defeats Ostapenko on clay, the narrative about her being a hard-court specialist does not just crack. It disintegrates. It evaporates. It ceases to exist. The establishment will have no argument left, no excuse, no asterisk, just the undeniable and irrefutable reality that Alexandra Eala is a threat on every surface, in every country, against every level of opponent. Her career clay record coming into this match was 14 wins and 21 losses. It is now 15 and 21. One match closer to equilibrium. One match closer to erasing the narrative. One match closer to proving that the surface that was supposed to be her ceiling is becoming her stage. And with Stuttgart next on the calendar, followed by Madrid, followed by the French Open, the clay court season is not a detour for Eala anymore. It is a campaign. It is a conquest. And the first battle has been won. She walked into Linz carrying the weight of 115 million Filipinos on her shoulders, not as a burden, but as rocket fuel. Every Filipino watching from Manila to Cebu to Davao to Los Angeles to Dubai to London to Rome to Tokyo sent a frequency of energy through their screens that transcended borders and time zones and language barriers. And Eala felt it. She always feels it. These are the moments she dreamed about. Competing on the biggest stages. Representing something bigger than herself. And today, on the red clay of Linz, she delivered for every single one of those people who believed in her when the statistics said she had no business winning on this surface. The establishment built a wall and called it clay. Eala climbed it in 1 hour and 42 minutes. They said she was a hard-court player. She just won her first clay match of 2026 in straight sets against a veteran with 369 clay wins. They said the hostile crowd would rattle her. She saved 9 out of 10 break points while the entire stadium screamed against her. They said this was where the revolution would stall. They were wrong about everything. 15 and 21 on clay. The number is climbing. The narrative is dying. The revolution is accelerating. And Jelena Ostapenko is next. 1 down. The hunt continues.